So, this is for my wedding dress. This is beading that is going on the front of the bodice. Last week we did the seed beads. So that's the border that's going around, all these little tiny beads. And then I went ahead and did the fill for this side. I think last week I said I thought I might do the whole thing in bicones. Bicones are these very sparkly beads, the really sparkly ones in there. But I did not buy that many bicones, and so I decided to try doing it with a pattern of bicone bugle bead, and bugle beads are like the longer beads. So it looked really pretty, so that's what we're doing. We're doing bugle bead, bicone, and then in this part here, there's a little extra bicones to like fill it in. But I feel like, just to go back to what I've already done, I feel like that looks pretty good. It's very sparkly. It's very shiny. And the bugle beads give like off a different kind of shine than the bicones do. The bicones are like very sparkly in person. Bicones by themselves, like normal bicones, are always going to be sparkly, but you gotta look for AB. AB, I've been told, apparently AB means Aurora Borealis, but what it actually is they like put like, they like fuse mirrors or something to it, but it just makes it this like extra, the camera is not doing it justice with this light, but they're the kind where it catches your eye and it sparkles really pretty. But I will show you how I've been doing these. So I'm right here. I've got one bugle bead in there right now. You see her? The bugle beads are kind of hard to see on the camera. You got one bugle bead. And this part is actually so easy. And that's why it's the fun part. But I'm doing one bugle, one bicone. And the way I'm sewing these on, it also makes it really simple. And I was kind of doing this with my seed beads too, and I forgot to mention this about, this is like another way you can do it. So I usually talk about doing beads in the way where you basically like, you go through a couple of them, and then you go through the fabric, you come back out, you come back up, you go through the beads again, and then lead the beads through the fabric. That way they all stay straight. That's an important thing to do when you're adding beads to a chain. But if you have a really long piece of beads, one of the things you can do is just couch it. So I'm going to work with this branch right here, this one. And I'm going to put enough beads on this strand of thread to where they go all the way up to the end of this branch. And they will just be kind of sitting around. But then I'm going to go back through and I'm going to couch them. And that will make them sit where they're supposed to. This here is the tricky part though, because now you gotta sort of figure out where that thread needs to go into and compensate for where they will be sitting. Because if you get this wrong, you might end up with the thread being a little short. But the good thing is, if you're couching it, you can kind of just take it a little further than it's actually supposed to be. Okay, so now those are not really sitting where they're supposed to. So now what I do is I'm just gonna go back through basically at every bicone, and I'm gonna couch it down. And a couching stitch is anything that goes over a thing. So we're just going over them and getting them to sit down where they're supposed to sit down. Queen of Cringe 18 says, I used 4,544 bicones on my last cosplay and loved how it looked under stage lights during the contest. Yeah, that's the thing about bicones and rhinestones. I watch a lot of like, not just Drag Race, but like content surrounding Drag Race. And a thing that they talk about all the time is that cameras do not pick up the sporkle that you get from particularly rhinestones, but also these kind of bicones or beads. Cameras like don't pick it up very well, but in person, especially in stage lights, they look amazing. You like move a teeny little bit and there's so much sparkle. I do have really exciting news though, because last night, I finally got through the last 2 episodes of Heroes of Cosplay. So I finally watched the entire show. I finally have all of my notes from every episode. If you've not been to the streams before and you haven't heard me talk about this yet, or you like missed the update video, the Heroes of Cosplay video is the December video. It might be very long. These are just my notes. This isn't like the script yet, but the notes were like I have 12,000 words written on Heroes of Cosplay. 12,000 just notes of the show. If you don't know, basically Heroes of Cosplay was a reality show that they made in the early 2010s. I think it was like 2013, 2014. And it was really, really bad. And it was the show painted this picture of cosplay that just wasn't super accurate, and there are a couple particular moments that a lot of people remember for being really, really problematic. Like there's a whole thing, there's 2 whole things about larger people cosplaying and these cosplayers' opinions on larger people cosplaying. And it's not the takes that you would really see today. It's pretty bad takes on that. But the other thing to remember though is like it was 10 years ago, so I really doubt the people that like said that stuff feel that way about it anymore, you know? But it's still a thing that happened, and it's still a thing that affected young cosplayers that watched it. Yeah, the body shaming. Yeah, there was I've seen the entire show now. There was one instance where there was a large group conversation about larger people cosplaying, and then there was one person who was she was mostly talking about her insecurities, but the show painted it as if like being fit or being thin is like required to be a cosplayer, and what they really should have been focusing on is like, this person has an insecurity about their weight. Like, that's a thing that happens. That's a normal thing to feel. But the show painted it like, oh, this is standard. This is what people are supposed to feel like. Which was not great. A lot of them don't even cosplay anymore. Well, that was the thing. So today I was actually going through, and I plan on having a segment that's like, where are they now? A lot of them do still cosplay. I think only like maybe 1 or 2 of them, like, there was one of them I could not find like anything on. Like, it was one of the guys. His social media were just like, couldn't find him, don't know where he was, don't know if he still cosplays. There was a random article about him getting a tattoo. Literally couldn't find anything. But it looks like most of them still cosplay in some capacity, but just like they're not like, some of them didn't really become professional cosplayers. Some of them did. Some of them were already famous and and the things that made them more famous had nothing to do with the show. So there is a little bit of haves and have-nots. .c says, I stopped watching it because it didn't portray the cosplay community that I knew at the time. Yeah, it did a really, that's the thing that it did the worst, is that it just really misrepresented the community, and it didn't, they were trying so hard to make it a dramatic TV show, that they made it so far off from anything having, like, anything close to what the community's actually like, even what the community was like in 2014. And, like, I was a baby cosplayer in 2014, But I still competed for the first time in 2014, and the experience I had competing in 2014 was nothing like what they portrayed on the show. Astrofox says, I really like the new series they did about cosplay. It is much more relatable. What series is that? I'm only familiar with one other show that they made about cosplay. I don't remember what it was called, but it was the one that was more like Project Runway, where they had them in like an enclosed space, you know? Alter Egos. Somebody was asking about that. Was that a movie or a documentary or something? It's a docu-series that Kamui is in. Okay. I have not seen it. I also never watched the one that was more like Project Runway was from like years and years ago. It's probably 6, 7, 8 years old at this point. Pika Blue says, have you seen the Yaya Han episode of the Cosplay Crunch podcast? She talks about her experience on Heroes of Cosplay. Sorry if you've already seen it. No, but I will write that down. Literally right now. That's also a good sign. I'm probably going to message Yaya Han. We do not live that far apart. Don't tell her. When I have finished all of my research and my script and I have what I want to ask her, I will probably be trying to interview her myself. But good to know that she did talk about it. Whole show almost didn't happen? Well, that's good to know. Peekaboo says they made her do this competition or skit that she refused and they guilted her into competing. Yeah, here's the thing though, is I'm really glad nobody told me any of this before I watched the show. Because as somebody who, like, I've never worked on a reality show, but I have worked in production, and I still work in production, and I can tell when is production meddling. And one of the things I'm going to be pointing out in the video, and that I already pointed out in my notes, is all of the production, all the production meddling that was clearly happening, that was clearly making everything cringe. I remember a video that Yaya put out about the drama they were trying to create between her and Jessica Negri. Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, I have a lot of questions about that stuff. It seemed like somebody on production had a negative opinion of Negri, because she was in the show, kind of. She wasn't a cast member, but she shows up at some point. It's just very odd. And she's mentioned so many times. There's a ridiculous zoom in on, somebody's talking about Negri, and there's a really ridiculous zoom in on her boobs. I will show you my new Lolita dress. It's very cute. So, I'll tell you the name of it. So, I bought it on Devil Inspired. I know there's a whole Devil Inspired is so divisive in the Lolita community because, yes, it is a Taobao reseller. It is. They are selling dresses for higher prices that are on Taobao that you can buy for cheaper on Taobao. However, to buy things on Taobao, you have to jump through a bunch of hoops. And there are other websites that do this exact same thing. But I have had very good experience with very good experiences buying stuff from Devil Inspired. So I don't really feel bad at all buying stuff from them because what they are offering is a service that I find helpful. They let you buy stuff that is on Taobao. Anyway, the dress I got, I'm not actually sure what the brand is called, but the dress is called, like, Mulberry Teapot. And it has teapots on it. And I bought it specifically because, and I think I said this in the Lolita wardrobe tour, that I've been really enjoying my black dresses. And I have 3 black dresses. I do have 3 black dresses. But I wanted another one in, not black, but in the black color scheme. And I wanted a new dress specifically for the Heroes of Cosplay video. And what better dress to get for me talking about this awful reality show than to get one that has teapots on it, because I'm spilling the tea. Here she is. She's very long. This is like the longest dress, like the longest Lolita dress I have ever owned. It goes down to there. It's very long, which I like. It's something a little different. But I mostly bought it for this. This bodice is so cute. Look at that. The little black details. It's gray, which I really like. The second I saw, like, just this top in gray, I was like, oh, I'm sold. The print obviously has teapots on it and mulberries. It's very cute. It's not the most complicated print I've ever seen, but it's pretty cute. It's just a little tea party with tea stuff. The thing I liked the most, though, was this top. But I also bought this blouse because it was matching. I kind of wish this collar was wider, just like on me. It's a little narrow for me, so I might not wear it with this blouse, but I do really like this blouse. It's really nice. I really like these cuffs. And it's a matching gray color. And it's got such a cute little bow thing. And I do like these little buttons. This is faux. These don't come undone. But let me show you the belt. Oh, and full shearing and adjustable buttons, which you don't always see with Taobao brands. But also, it has a zipper. And it has pockets. Look at this belt. Look at this. How perfect. How perfect is this little belt? But I'm pretty sure I bought it on pre-order. It might still be up on Devil Inspired, but I think the belt was like $10. So of course I got the belt too. You had to buy the belt separately. But if you want this belt, it's like $10 on Devil Inspired. Maybe 10, 15, something like that. But look at it. And it's a nice little leather belt. It's not real leather. She's like, yep, you had to have it. It's the perfect thing for, like, making videos where I'm spilling tea, which is what Heroes of Cosplay is. Not really spilling tea. I mean, it's spilling tea on a thing that aired on TV that nobody that's not a cosplayer knows about. But yeah, I had this sold me on the set, so I got the whole set. But I'm very excited. It's very cute. I also, though, it kind of does pale in comparison to, my Little Witch OP that I wore for I wore the Little Witch OP. It's still in here, I'll just show you. I love this thing. It is so cute. And I wore it for both of the horror stories. So the animated one has little cut-ins of me, between the stories, but the non-animated one, I'm just sitting there the whole time, so I decided to wear it again to double use it, but everything pales in comparison to this thing. It's just so cute. Thanks for watching this year-old Patreon stream re-upload. If you want to see the Patreon streams actually live or in full, then you can check out my Patreon because you can get access for just $1 a month. And a big thank you to Mel, or Pocket Leaves, who's editing these streams down for me so I can focus on my main channel videos. You can check out Mel's work on either their channel Pocket Leaves or Pocket Cons, and sometimes you'll even see me in their con vlogs. It's a special occurrence when it happens. But as always, if you're just watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, then you're supporting this channel too. So thank you. Bye!